Yo, what's good, yo? My dog CL the Kid. What up, Charles? How you doing, dog?
Going, brother? Doing good. How's things with you?
Good, man. Good. Living life, working hard. We've been off of the podcast for the last 2 weeks just because each of us have been busy, but, it's good to be back on. Thank you for coming back on. I appreciate you being a guest for the fifth, sixth time, whatever it's been, but I appreciate you
always. From here till we die.
For sure. Guys, we got a jam-packed show today. We got 4 topics that we're going to cover. But before we get into that, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the show with your family, friends, or even strangers that you see running up the block at the golf course when you're going down, scrolling down, and you're hitting the ball into the lake. Let them know to jump on the G perspective and listen to us, man. We would really appreciate it. I really appreciate you guys' love and support. And if you guys are into sports gambling, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports gambling slips. It's $10 a month where you could get winnings from $20 to $50 to $100 a day. And we have an affiliate program that can get you money as well. If you're interested in that, you'll see the link pop up on your screen, or just hit me up on one of my socials, slide in my DM. We'll get a conversation started to get you on and pop it. But yeah, man, we got a few football topics, man. We're going to talk about Shedeur Sanders playing on Friday starting for the Cleveland Browns in the preseason opener. We're going to talk about contract extensions for Kyren Williams and De'Aaron Fox. But the first thing I wanted to start off, man, with this because the main man, Travis Hunter, first-round draft pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars, has been officially set on the depth chart. Obviously, he made the 53-man roster. I'm pretty sure a lot of us knew, if you're a true football fan, so a lot of us knew that he was going to make that. He will be the wide receiver 2, and he would be the cornerback 4. Man, lots of thoughts that have been going around with so many people talking about that he can't play both sides. He can play both sides. People want to see him play both sides. Other people don't want to see him play both sides. But just to get your perspective on this, man, before it even happens with the preseason going on this weekend, what do you think exactly what can happen for Hunter? And do you think this is good for him? Do you think he can play both sides? Do you think he cannot play both sides? What are your thoughts,
bro? Hey, man, first off, obviously, you personally, Cowboys fan, right? So you guys have a lot of corners in Dallas that are players that some people, if you look at the stats, they're, great defensive corners, but at the end of the day, they take a lot of risk. They're not really bump and run kind of coverage guys. They gamble. They get the interceptions. They get those kind of stats. They're not shut down type corners, but they're still valuable, right? Travis Hunter was that in college. Now, granted, college, Colorado, playing against some mid to high tier programs, and yes, they did get exposed a lot of times, but he was never truly exposed. He always did a really good job of making sure he stood in front of his defender, didn't overly gamble. I'm not calling him a lockdown corner or anything like that. I know guys like Devin Hester that played corner and receiver, they were pretty much just good at one and okay at the other. Hunter did a good job of looking pretty good at both. And I know that's at the college level where athleticism can make a huge difference. In the NFL, that kind of narrows because everybody's athletic. But I'm excited about it. I like Travis Hunter. I don't mind the Jags. That's a team that needs help on both sides. So why not? It's going to be a good opportunity for them to see what they got. And if he pans out to just be good at one and not the other, fine, roll with it, right? I do think he's a better receiver than he is a corner, but I don't think putting him out there as a corner is, that risky on a team that could use it because they have a lot of gaps anyway. So I'm all for it. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm just excited. I want to see it.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, honestly, I'm not surprised that he's a wide receiver too. I mean, the only receivers that the Jacksonville Jaguars really have right now is Thomas, and he showed that he was a great receiver last year in his rookie year. His sophomore year, he's probably going to be even better, but some people are kind of afraid of the sophomore slump. It kind of happens more with quarterbacks than receivers and running backs and even skill players, but still, the sophomore slump is a thing. I'm not surprised that he was wide receiver too. They drafted him because of that reason, because of being a wide receiver. But obviously, he has skills at the cornerback position, right? And I think it's interesting that they put him at the cornerback 4 because it shows that they want to play him at corner. They want to give him the chance, but not enough to risk his health, to risk the team's success, to risk the whole controversy of can a player play both ways in the NFL for a full game and not even just one game, full season. And if they make playoffs, going into the playoffs, and by the grace of God, make the Super Bowl, even in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's dope that they're going to give him the chance that he's going to actually play that. He'll probably play like a few snaps here and there and this and that, but the chances that he gets at corner, they have to be perfect. They have to be perfect if he really wants to play a full game on offense and defense from starting to the end of the game. If it's a close game, obviously, if they're winning by a lot, I'm pretty sure they're not going to leave him in there, health reasons. But if it's a close game for him to play from the start to finish, it's going to be the chances that he gets, the opportunities that he gets are going to be very, very slim. So they have to be perfect for him because if not, I don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars giving him that chance of playing on both sides for a whole season. I think they would like to use him at the receiver position because they're so low at it. And obviously, he's so great at it. But for the corner position, I feel like they're very filled at that position. Not saying that he can't take it over anybody else, but if he's going to play both sides, I'm sure that they want him scoring more points than they do want him defending the points.
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, they put him at the 4 spot. They don't want this guy playing 60 minutes a game. Comes in, they believe he's a better receiver than a corner. He's going to make an impact there right out the gate. And putting him at the 4 spot allows him to kind of be in a situation where he can take risk and he can gamble because he's not guarding the 1 or 2. He's not playing in the slot. He can kind of be that additional guy who, if he needs to break a route and go for something, he could. And that'll just make him look good. You're not going to have a lot of stats if he's playing the 4 spot. That's kind of not limited minutes, but lesser minutes because you'll do your swap outs there. And essentially, if he maybe gets a couple targets towards him a game and only 1 or 2 receptions, that's already going to look like he's putting out good stats, right? Even though it's not truly what it is, it's just opportunity and stuff like that. But if he throws in an interception here or there, just because he has the opportunity to break routes and do stuff like that, then it's going to make him look great. So why not on a team that can use some kind of excitement on both sides of the ball, but especially offense, like you said, that's a very weak wide receiver room. I like it, and I'm good with it. And I do think he'll just eventually end up being probably just a wide receiver. But for now, I'm just going to enjoy it for what it is. And like you said, this guy stay healthy.
Yeah, I think no matter what, he's going to be a star for sure. I think if he just plays primarily a receiver, he's going to be a star. If he plays primarily a corner, I think he'll be a star too. But for him to be a star on both sides of the ball from week 1 to week 18 to the extra weeks in the playoffs that they make it to going all the way to the end to the Super Bowl if they make it, it's very, very, very tough for me to believe that he will be a star on both sides of the ball throughout a whole season of NFL football. We're not talking about college. We're not talking about high school. We're not talking about Pee Wee. We're talking about the highest level a player can play at the football level.
Yeah, I think eventually they will decide, okay, well, we're going to start seeing what else we have on defense. He'll start to scheme more as a wide receiver, and you'll get less moments of him being on the defensive side. Maybe some cute schemes and plays like that put him on the field, but not consistently. Because, you're going to run this guy into the ground if he's playing.
Exactly.
Even if he's playing 13, 14 games, So
by the time he's in year 3 and the guy's knees are giving out, he's already tired and he's not playing the same.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah,
you need him longevity. You need that longevity.
Yeah.
But to move on, man, let's talk about his college teammate, man, his quarterback back in Colorado, Shedeur Sanders. He's gonna have a chance to prove himself this Friday. He's gonna open up for the Cleveland Browns against the Carolina Panthers this Friday. I mean, it's been called that he's gonna be a starter, but it's because of several reasons. I mean, hamstring injuries to both Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel. And obviously, the age and experience of Joe Flacco is 40 years old. I'm pretty sure we all agree that he does not need preseason snaps. He knows how to play football. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's won a lot of games. He's played in a lot of football games, so he doesn't need to be out there. So for Shedeur Sanders, he's going to have a big, big opportunity to prove himself here, to try to get that number one spot or even the number two or number three spot, because they have so many quarterbacks on that team. But with this news being brought up, man, what are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders starting on Friday?
I think it's the right move. Like you said, guys are banged up. Joe Flacco shouldn't even play in the preseason. He's not the number one starter. If they started a game today, if it was week one, it would be Joe Flacco. But either way, I think, I know they brought in Huntley as well to kind of carry off some of those injuries we just spoke about, Dylan Gabriel and whatever. But honestly, I know statistically, what does he have? 6 touchdowns, no interceptions so far through the camps and stuff. And it's all irrelevant, right? It's about going through your reads and showing your progressions and showing, how to adapt, especially when you get through that first drive, because, most coaches will plan for about 10 plays or 2 drives worth of game plan. And then after that, it's kind of up to you as a quarterback to take it to the next level and start to scheme yourself against, and the coordinator, obviously, against the defense. But I am interested to see how well he does with things like that, reading, because in practice, it's kind of a learning curve. Like he said, he didn't want Dion there because he's still a part of that learning curve, not really wanting him to be there, be a part of any of that. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm definitely going to watch it. Most people will, and they're going to critique it here and there. I'm not going to over criticize if he throws an interception or so. I'm just more so interested in looking how fast he reads defenses. Because, you're playing against other preseason type players, backup guys trying to earn their spot. But that level of player is traditionally almost as good as any best college team that you're going to get. Right? You got a lot of NFL talent, even if it is lower talent. So if he just looks the part and he goes to his games and he has some moments, that'll be nice to see, because he's really just trying to set himself up as the backup at this point.
Yeah, I mean, for me, man, I feel like he's got to take advantage of this opportunity, bro. He really does, because I think he's gonna play the first quarter. I think he'll play the whole first quarter. He might possibly play the whole first half. Second half they'll probably have Tyler Huntley come in. Um, now I'm forgetting the other quarterback's name.
Dylan
Whatever.
Gabriel.
Yeah,
And
well,
what was that third one?
Gabriel, Kenny Pickett are
Pickett.
both have hamstring. Yeah. So they both have hamstrings. So Joe Flacco's not going to play. So it's going to be Tyler Huntley and Shedeur Sanders. So possibly he's going to play the whole first quarter. He's going to play the whole first quarter, and possibly he's going to play the whole first half, right? But with that being said, hamstring injuries to both Kenny Pickett and Dylan Gabriel. Let's say that it goes more than 2 weeks that they need to heal. He's gonna have another opportunity then next week to prove himself even more. But let's say they heal quick and Kenny Pickett comes back and Dylan Gabriel comes back next week. Now his chances of playing are going to be slim depending on how he plays in this game. So I think it's a huge opportunity for him that he needs to make. And just like how you said, people are going to be seeing how he goes through his progressions, how he plays under pressure, how he runs away from whenever he's getting someone's trying to get him on a sack, how he throws the ball on the run, how he just makes decisions on the football field. Obviously, everybody's going to be looking at that. And I think that if he goes out there and he doesn't play as well as us fans of Shedeur Sanders needs him to play, I don't think the opportunity is going to be so much there for him in the upcoming weeks, leading into the regular season and going down the regular season, as it would as if he shows out in this first quarter, second quarter. Tyler Huntley comes in second half, and the first half he did what he had to do. I think he'll be able to play next week. He'll show it even more the week after that, and then we'll see what's up when it comes to the regular season. Because I do believe that Joe Flacco is going to be the starter when it comes to week one. I think he just has the experience, and they trust him enough to go out there and make the right plays compared to the 2 rookies that they just drafted. Kenny Pickett, he hasn't really shown much over the years that he's been in the NFL. And then Tyler Huntley, he's been he's been to a Pro Bowl, but it's always been inconsistent with his game when it comes to him throwing the ball, him running the ball, him making good decisions. So I think that Sanders is going to be able to prove himself with this big opportunity. And if he does, he's going to get more playing time. more playing time. If he doesn't prove himself with this game, it sucks to say, it's sad to say, but I don't think he's going to get more opportunities down the road.
Yeah, he's really just looking to beat out Dylan Gabriel and Pickett because at this point, season starts today. Joe Flacco's the 1. Huntley's going to get that 2 spot, even if he's not perceived as like the long-term backup. They're going to go with a guy who's more experienced and ready all the time, and Huntley's proven he can be that. So you usually go with your safety net at 2, and people make a big deal if the person drops down to 3 or 4. But realistically, if Flacco were to get hurt, even with Huntley being the backup, Huntley will probably, let's just say it's week 3, Flacco gets hurt, something happened, or he's throwing a bunch of picks. They'll probably put Huntley in, and then following that, whenever they make the decision, like we're going to move on from Flacco, whether it's week 8, week 10, whatever, and we're going to just be done with it because of his age and it's time to move on, and they're maybe not winning, Flacco's going to drop down to like 4. He's not going to play anymore for the rest of the season. So at that point, Huntley will remain the backup, and then whoever is in that 3 spot will probably leapfrog and be the number 1 spot. So it's going to be really big for him to show that, Kenny Pickett is probably on the fence. He's been unhealthy. He hasn't played great, like you said, overall. He hasn't played great that much in this camp. And then Dylan Gabriel, another guy just like him, young coming out of college, UCF, Oregon, whatever, hasn't had a chance to prove it yet because of how much time they've had camp and the injuries. So if he can really show out here, that'll keep them in the back of the mind. Okay, week 1, Joe Flacco's the starter, Huntley's the number 2. We'll organize 3, 4, 5, somebody will be gone. But we'll organize the rest of that as it is. And then when it's time for Flacco to take a huge step back and we're not winning games and it's time for us to make a move, then we'll jump in with one of these other guys. Obviously, there's, Deshaun Watson stuff too. So who knows? Big thing there. But like you said, he's got to take advantage of the opportunity because he's really only going to get 1 or 2 weeks depending on his injury.
Yeah. So the matchup against the Carolina Panthers, they're a decent defense. I think their secondary is pretty good. I would say like top 15.
They give up a lot of stats, though. They do give up a lot of stats, though. They give up a lot of passing yards, though.
Yeah, they do. They do. But I feel like, especially this offseason, I feel like they tuned it up with the moves that they made and stuff like that, which is why I put them in the top 15 right now. But Shedeur Sanders going up against that defense, how do you think he does?
I think he does just well enough for you to leave enough doubt on whether or not you should play him. I don't think he's going to shine super great. I don't think he's going to play super bad. I think he's just going to float right in the middle, kind of be cautious, take the underneath routes, things like that. Not be unimpressive, but also at the same time do the right things. So it's kind of a bad spot for him to be in. But at the same time, it's almost like, the best card wins and you drew a 10. Like, you're not getting a king or jack or anything like that, but you're also still kind of in a spot where it's not a terrible spot to stay in. So, I mean, like you said, he's going to play a half at best. I don't think he plays beyond that either. I would like to see him take chances. I just don't know if his personality at this point, because it seems like he's kind of changed his personality from college to now, right? Or since the draft, I should say at least.
He's humbled. He's humbled more.
Yeah, he's humbled a lot. So I think that's going to change what I think what you saw in college and running, taking a lot of chances, doing some, whatever. Like obviously the NFL level doesn't allow for that as heavy, unless you're a guy like Lamar Jackson with incredible speed. But I think he'll try to be maybe a little bit too cautious, but it'll make him look good. But at the end of the day, you're not going to get any of the big plays that you're really looking for. Kind of like Bronny in his debuts, like not a lot of shots, just kind of playing defense, trying to show value, trying to stay humble instead of really trying to jump out and take the risk. Because he probably knows if he does and it fails, then he's pretty much done.
Yeah, I'm on the same boat. I think he'll do decent. I think his completion rate will probably be like at 50%, maybe 60. But I think it would be at 50%, like a 6 for 12. He'll drive down the field pretty good, but then it'll get to a point that they're like a 30-yard line, 25-yard line, or something like that, and they'll end up kicking a field goal because he just couldn't get it done. Which is not horrible because obviously, it's not just him, it's the running backs, the offensive line, the receivers. There's a lot of variables that go into play, but just saying like off of his statistics of what it could be, I think he'll be a 50% completion rate. I don't think he'll throw a touchdown. Maybe he'll have like 10 rushing yards, but other than that, it won't be like, oh my God, we need to start this guy next week. I think it will be like, okay, I think he deserves another chance.
Yeah, I hope so. I would like to see him try a couple down the field and a couple bigger runs just to showcase what he got drafted for in the first place. But we'll see.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, we want to talk about contract extension of a running back down over on the west side of the United States in LA. Big dog Kyren Williams got a contract extension today with 3 years, $33 million with 23 million guaranteed. Man, some big money right there for a running back. Even though some running backs have been getting paid, and it's going to probably change the market a little bit for the running backs, but with Kyren Williams, man, he's been showing out. He's been doing what he needs to do, and he got the money for it. What do you think? You think he deserves this money?
Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, I don't know. I think he's seventh in the list of behind Jacobs in terms of biggest contracts for running backs. You look at a guy like James Cook out there still complaining, moping, whatever it is with Buffalo. But I'm not sure how this will influence that. But either way, it's just getting it done and moving forward. He's a person, kind of like the McLaurin situation in Washington, who has just been quiet, has done what he's supposed to do. Not right, McLaurin's a much older player, but either way, like guys that have just taken care of business, showed up, been consistent, and helped their team win. And now it's time to get the deal done. Stood quiet about it, got it done, and he got paid accordingly. I don't think they overpaid. I don't think they underpaid. I was fine with the number. It looks like a big number, but at the same time, he's not old. He also is a pass catching kind of back. So, that's good. You have an opportunity right now. And it's kind of like I talk about Parsons a lot, is you're in a window where you made other moves on that team. And now you're letting one thing hold you up. And it's going to influence everything you built around it. Just get the deal done. Unfortunately, sometimes you have to spend. I don't think, given that right now, you brought in Devontae Adams, you're on an older quarterback, Puka's going to be healthy, let's just assume, right? Atwell, they got a nice little offensive team there. They got some weapons. And, other than Adams and Stafford, the team's overall pretty young. So they have an opportunity to really go out there. Niners didn't look that sharp last year. Seattle, who knows? New quarterbacks. They're just the whole thing overall. I think this team can really compete, could win the division, but they just have to shore things up and get it done, and they did. So that's a huge win. They're not going into the season with question marks, and no one's holding up contracts now or anything like that. And he's worth the value, so I'm good with it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very well deserving for him. I think he's in my opinion, a top 10 running back, but some people don't even think about it like that. I think definitely he's a top 10. He's a huge part
Yeah, he
of
gets
their
no
offense.
respect. He
Yeah,
gets no
no, for
respect.
sure. He gets
No
no
talk.
respect for sure. He's a big part of their offense, a big part of why they're successful as of late. Last year, they had a roll going down at the end of the season, and it's going to continue for the next 3 years. Really, it's gonna continue because he's just a great back. It's hard to tackle him. He has good enough speed. He could catch the ball. He could block as well as any of them, even as well as some offensive linemen. Really, but this guy is just a great running back, man. I think it's well deserving, and he's a focal point of the Los Angeles Rams offense. And on the Rams side, it's smart for them to lock it down because how you just mentioned, there's teams out there just like mine, not locking down their best players on the team and what literally brings them the success that they have. And next thing you know, they want to ask for a trade. They want to get out of there. They don't want to play for them anymore. So with Kyren Williams, he didn't say nothing all off season. He just waited for his opportunity to get paid. The Rams said, "You know what? We appreciate this guy. We're gonna show the appreciation. We're gonna get him his money because he is one of our focal points of the offense. He could literally get 100 yards and a TD on any given Sunday. So it was great for him to get that money, man. Well deserving and smart play by the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep, all with that for sure. Big time.
Yeah,
Pay him now, or it only gets more expensive.
yeah, facts, facts. Will you consider him a top 10 running back in the league?
I'd have to go through it, but if you told me, 8 to 13, I'm good with that. And not just, that's just kind of based off like just being a pure running back and not thinking of anything else.
Mm.
He does more than just that for the team, So there's, I know not a lot of running backs these days can catch and stuff like that, but they can scheme to him as a short route catcher. Like you said, he's very elusive. He's a great, and I'm not saying there aren't other running backs that are great at this, but if you notice that team, especially when, Puka was hurt, people like that were in and out, he was great at late breaking routes, you know what I mean, as running back, coming back to the ball, breaking away from the offense that they originally planned because, maybe the pass rush got there or whatever. And Stafford loves those situations, loves late adjustments. It's it's a perfect fit for a team that's under the radar that shouldn't be, but at the same time hasn't proven it yet. I mean, I know they won the Super Bowl recently, but this set of roster here, I think it's a perfect glue piece for a team that's kind of in between age right
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely, definitely. Um, the last contract extension we want to talk about, and literally the last topic, man. You know how it is in the summer, bro. This be
now.
sports be
Rough.
snoozing. I mean, for the baseball people out there, MLB baseball, you know, like I'm trying to get a little bit more into it. I'm watching a little bit more here and there. You know, I'm getting a little bit into more golf, so maybe we bring some golf topics on here, but mostly for a
Hey,
lot of
whenever you're ready, brother.
yeah, man. Well,
I'm watching baseball right now.
yeah, yeah. For a lot of sports fans, man, the summer is a little snooze. And even if you do like baseball, you still consider the summer as snooze when it comes to news and all the stuff that's really going on. So the last thing I just wanted to talk about with you, man, because it's another contract extension, but it's in the NBA, and there's been some controversy that I've seen over social media about it. As De'Aaron Fox getting a contract extension with the San Antonio Spurs, he agreed to 4 years, $229 million maximum contract extension with the franchise. I want to get your thoughts first before I jump into it. But do you think that Fox is well deserving of this contract, or do you think not?
I mean, I think they're just trying to have somebody run alongside Wemby for a while with some consistency instead of making him feel like the Giannis situation, where 2 years from now everybody's gone, and now how do you keep it, right? Coupled with they're probably paying based off his performance in the season 2 years ago. Well, I guess not 3 years ago when they played the Warriors in the first round and how good he looked there before the injury. I think that's what they're hoping his ceiling is. If he's consistently that player, of course. In fact, if he's that player, you probably got him for cheaper than you could have. Now, we don't know what he's going to be, but this team is young. You got Dylan Harper back there. You obviously have Stefan Castle. We already mentioned Wemby. The team has some young talent, aside Sochan, aside from Wemby himself. So they're going to be moving. They're ready to go. They're trying to get, a nice stability there. And I don't think that Fox is, I don't think he's Luka or one of those kind of guys, obviously. But I do think he's still a great player, and he says and does all the right things. He's not a problem. There's nothing wrong with him there, and I think he fits the mold of San Antonio, where a lot of people didn't like being there in the past. I'm wearing a Blazers jersey, random, but I remember Marcus Aldridge when he went there. He didn't like the scheme. A lot of other players don't like the scheme because I know Popovich is not really the guy no more, but at the same time, that is the system they like to run. That kind of slower pace, old school fundamental ball, and it's not about the individual. I think De'Aaron Fox is a player that can be in that mold and not have a problem with it. Someone kind of like Devontae Murray when he was there. So, yeah, they paid a little much for it. I don't think just missing off an injury, a player like Fox would have warranted that kind of money just in the open market, but I get it for them.
Yeah, that's my thing right there. Like I'm all for players getting paid, man. I want all these players to get paid. I want all these athletes to do good. But in this situation right now and how it stands, I don't think that $229 million maximum contract extension is what Fox is worth. He's a one-time All-Star, one-time All NBA. He didn't do much with the Sacramento Kings. Like they went to the playoffs what once or twice in the last 20 years or whatever. What in the stint that he's been there, I think it's just once or twice. Um, really didn't do much there. Yes, he was a big part of that for sure. He's a very athletic scoring guard and he could run a team. He's a good playmaker. So I see why it makes sense of what you're saying. They're trying to run him with Wemby, so they don't have another guard to actually run it with Wemby. But I think he's only going to be there for a few years because I think Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle, I think they're going to take over the realms, and it's just going to be Wemby, Castle, Harper running in them three, and they're going to look at Fox like, yo, man, we don't really need you anymore, man. We could trade you and get some picks, or maybe a good asset in return, and then more picks or some money, some compensation, whatever the case may be. But I think Fox would have been better. They would have been better with giving him like 180, 170, but 229 I feel like for me is just too much, and he hasn't really proved himself that much in that regard. But I hope he proves me wrong. I hope he goes out there and he shows that, you know what, I am worth this money. I'm going to take the Spurs to the playoffs. Maybe we can go deep in the playoffs, maybe even get to the NBA finals if a miracle happens. But I do think that it is too much for him. But again, I hope he proves me wrong, and I hope he shows that he is worth that money.
Yeah, I mean, everybody got 2 years to prove that he's at a high enough value that you can bring in maybe a third person, because after that you would have to re-sign Wemby, right, and pay through the roof, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, like you said, I hope so too. I do think he's good enough to make them a threat and make you go, man, if they had one more piece, right? And it doesn't
Yeah,
have to be like, Jokic or something crazy, but at the same time, it'll probably have to be something significant. But I think that team can play great defense. I think he's a good young leader. I think he is going to be the veteran of the team already. But like you said, they do have other guards that are ready to plug and play. But hey,
exactly.
if it doesn't work out, by year 3 of this, it'll be one more year to expiring contract. Then maybe somebody else will take them off their hands, and then they have the guards that they have in place, because somebody else will be in a position to eat up that 1 year and move on from it. But who knows? He's still gonna have to show it, and he's gonna have to stay healthy, because if he is that first round Sacramento De'Aaron Fox that looked like he was gonna bounce the Warriors until he got banged up and stuff like that, then of course, yeah, sure, he looks like an all-star. But
Yeah,
who knows? He just got hurt. We haven't
yeah.
seen it since then. So
I mean, it was only his thumb. So right?
yeah,
I
it
think it was
wasn't
his
huge.
thumb.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I think it was
it
only his
wasn't
thumb. So
anything
I
else.
think, yeah, I think he'll be good. I don't think he's gonna take a step back at all. Like I think it
Sure.
just sucks of what happened. Obviously, and if it was a shooting hand, if I recall, if it is a shooting hand, obviously it's hard as hell to grip a basketball like that. So even to pass it, to shoot it, to dribble, whatever the case may be, it's hard to him to do that. So for him to go down with that injury and get surgery for it and stuff like that, yes, it's significant, but I don't think it's gonna make him take a step back.
Yeah, me neither. I just want to see how he plays with Wemby, because before he
Yeah,
was just playing by
mhm,
himself. You know.
that's right. That's
So,
right. They haven't even played together. That's right. Or did they play like a few games?
yeah, I was gonna say maybe a little, but that's it. Not
Yeah,
nothing significant enough to me
yeah. I
to
think it was like a week or
evaluate.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Oh man, hey, one of the shortest episodes we've had. Man, hey, I gotta get into
let's not
baseball.
throw
I
some
gotta get
college
into.
football in there.
Yeah, no, facts, facts. I gotta
Hey
get
man,
more. I gotta
just so
get
you
more into
know,
college football too, man. I gotta
yo,
get
week
more into
one of
college
college football is
football.
not a joke no more. Like, it's pretty stacked. It's
Yeah,
pretty
no,
stacked.
bro, I
Freaking
seen
Texas,
that.
Ohio State. Texas, Ohio State. Those are the 1-2s right now in the poll. They play week one in Ohio State. You
That's
have
fact.
freaking
That's fact.
LSU at Clemson. Both with new young quarterbacks that are in the Heisman war. So
Mhm.
that's going to be good. Miami, the U, playing Notre Dame week one. That's not Bethune Cookman week one. Somebody
Yeah,
legit
yeah,
week
for
one.
real, for real.
Coming off of a team that just
Yeah.
lost the national championship. Bama at Florida State. Week one is stacked. So college football we're going to talk about college football when that time comes.
No, yeah, I told you, I'm gonna start studying more, 100%.
Yeah.
Start studying more on college football. But just
And if you like
because
some
of what I
baseball, we
did,
got Padres Diamondbacks on right now. I'm watching it, but I know other people don't watch it.
but what I did see is that Texas was number one, right, in the polls.
Yeah, under Arch Manning. Yeah,
How do you
a
feel
Longhorn.
about Texas being number one? Because last year, if correct me if I'm wrong, but last year, from what I saw, that defense wasn't really that good. I mean,
Well, remember last year was Quinn Ewers at quarterback, who's drafted now, and now they got Arch Manning, which is the huge. He's the number
yeah,
one
yeah,
preseason guy. Obviously, Peyton Eli Manning's not grandson. Sheesh, aging myself here. Their nephew. So that's the huge expectation. Waiting to see what he does. I mean, Ohio State should be the one. You know what I mean? They just won the championship.
you just
They
won
return a
it.
lot of
Yeah.
guys. They have the best wide receiver in the country already. Hasn't even
Mhm.
played yet. Like, they should be the one, but I'm okay with this being one or two, especially since they're going to play each other week one. It's all irrelevant. And really, side note there is a number one poll hasn't won the national championship maybe once in the past 10 years. So being number one don't really do nothing for you. And that was Ohio State, I think, in like 2017. So it don't really pay to be number one. But I do think Texas is going to be interesting.
Yeah. No, I when I saw that they were number one, I was like, yeah, I get it because of Arch Manning for sure. I saw that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, they expect him to do crazy work, which I agree. I think he's gonna do crazy work. But I was like, that defense wasn't from what I saw in the late games of the last of the regular season going into the bowl games and the college football playoff. The defense wasn't where I thought it was going to be. Like they weren't an unstoppable defense. Like, what do you
Yeah, no,
think?
I hear you.
Like, yeah,
I mean, I think defense is okay. It's not bad, but at the same time, I believe they were top 10 in recruiting this year as well. So a lot of that was on the defense side of the ball. So I, I think they'll turn it around pretty quick. I like the team. I think they're okay. At the same time, tough schedule. So, but also at the same time, no longer, used to be 2 years ago, you lose one game, you're pretty much done. Two games, you're done, unless you're Bama and magically you get in,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
So now, with the play-in or the playoffs, 12 teams, they're gonna make it, right? Like it's almost impossible that they don't make it, minus some crazy injury or something like that. At that point, it'll just be time for him to step up and show that he can lead them, because a lot of these guys in college football are a lot of the good teams are going to be led by quarterbacks that haven't even been named yet. Like in Bama, they still got three quarterbacks. They haven't even decided a starter yet. It'll probably be Simpson, but I don't know. Oregon, a lot of these teams have question marks. They have new, not freshmen, all of them, but young quarterbacks that haven't played yet, right? Even Georgia, same thing. So there's no team that's coming back other than Penn State with Drew Aller that I really say and go, okay, we know what we're going to get out of that team entirely. And even that team is a team that just folds every chance they can get. So, a lot of fresh starts is a good chance for Arch Manning to stand out, but I'm sure somebody will step up, like freaking Nussmeyer and LSU, or even Klubniak and Clemson, and try to, you know, steal some of the spotlight. But it should be interesting.
Yeah. No, I definitely gotta get more into it for sure. I gotta do my studies. Dawg. I gotta do my
You're
homework.
a Canes fan, right?
Canes fan for sure. For sure.
Oh yeah, me too, me too. So hey,
Yeah.
Carson Beck from
I
Georgia.
just primarily because my thing is right with college, it's very exciting to watch. Whenever I put it on the TV, it's exciting to watch for sure. And even when I see the highlights or whatever, but to me, it's like there's so many damn teams, bro, that it's just like it's hard to keep up with. Like to keep up with it every single Saturday or every single Thursday or Friday night, whatever. So like I just stick to the Canes. And I know last year we had a fantastic offense, but our defense couldn't cover anybody. The first 4 weeks
Yeah,
we were looking good. Obviously, first week Bethune Cookman, we're straight, we're chilling, blah blah blah. But then after that, our offense was always steady throughout the whole season. But our defense was good in the beginning of the season, and then when we started to play the good teams, our defense couldn't cover anybody. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't
yeah,
stop the pass, couldn't get any turnovers. We looked horrible out there. So Cam Ward, reason why he was the number one pick, had to go out there and show he is a number one pick, and he had to run away from defensive lines, from linebackers. He had to extend plays from 3 to 5 seconds to freaking 10 to 15 seconds, and it's like you can't put all of your weight on the offense because when it comes to the end of the season that you're trying to get into the college football playoff, you're trying to win in the college football playoff, and you're trying to get to the national championship game and win it, you need a defense. And this is why defense wins championships in every single team sport.
yeah. And it sucks too because we just missed the playoff last year. Thought we should have got in, but I understood it based on some of the variables that were mentioned at the time. But opposite team now. It's funny because coming into that year, it was like, oh, the defense is going to be great, and let's see what Cam Ward does. And now it's obviously like you said, it was the complete opposite of that. And now we've recruited big on defense, bringing Carson Beck from Georgia to kind of be the stopgap QB, see what he does. Obviously a lot of experience, could be good, but it's the complete opposite of Cam Ward. He's not running around the field and doing anything crazy. Slower player, experienced but slower. Um, I'm still excited. That Notre Dame game right out the gate is going to be a challenge. It is in Miami, so that helps.
Yep.
But I don't like that. I would have preferred Bethune Cookman, but hey, we'll get them, I'm sure, week 2 or something like that, and then bounce back. But either way, a lot of fun storylines with college football. Like I said, if you're not someone who watches it, I would probably recommend just floating in your conference, looking at the top 5 teams there, and then maybe other than the Pac-12, it's only 2 teams right now, just whatever. Floating with the other Power Fours and just taking maybe the top 5 of each. Now you're setting 20 teams, which is smaller than the NBA, smaller than the NFL,
Mm.
so on, so on. And it kind of makes it more realistic. If you're trying to keep up with the MAC and all these other teams that nobody watches or cares about, and the bowl games. Yeah, it's going to be overwhelming for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and obviously since the beginning of the season to the end of the season, there's always a top 25. So I'm gonna just try and stick to the top 25s. Just
Yeah, that's all you. That's all.
every week, whatever top 25 is, all right, read up on them, watch some highlights, watch the games, boom, 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 and try to stick with it like that because, dude, nah, I'm not trying to sit through 100 and some teams that most of them are complete ass.
Yeah, no, trust me, I am one of those weirdos where I'm watching, Bowling Green versus Scrambling and stuff like that. Like I'm just like, whatever. Utah late at night. But yeah, I hear you. Top 25 and Florida State because they shouldn't be top 25. I hate them. That's just me talking shit. That's the only teams that you need to focus on
Oh
as a
man,
Miami fan. It's top
for sure.
25 and Florida State.
Yeah. Florida State. That game is always awesome. That
I
game is
hate
always.
them.
Yeah, no facts. But I'm saying that game is always awesome every year.
Yeah,
Well, man. Well, I appreciate you giving me your time, brother. Let these people know where they can follow you, man. Where they can view your stuff and listen to your music, my boy.
Yeah, by the way, rapper producer, CL Kid, that's the artist name, at Real CL Kid on pretty much every platform there is, as it says on the screen. Reach out anytime, DM. I obviously also have a sports page, Talk CL Kid. The links are within my CL Kid page as well. So feel free to debate, saying stuff here like my boy G. Or just, love to build the content, love to have a great time, just like you did today. Regardless of how many talks it is, regardless if it's baseball or golf, I'm in.
Gotta get into that for sure, guys. You know where you can
Get
follow
some
me on
WNBA talk.
Yeah. At George Mike Perez, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at GMike Media _. The audio version of the podcast is available on all podcast platforms. The video version on YouTube. And if you guys are into sports gambling, I run a Telegram channel where we offer sports gambling slips to get you winnings from 20 to 50 to $100 a day, only paying $10 a month. And we have an affiliate program where you can get extra money on top of that. If you guys are into that, the link will pop up on your screen, or if not, my socials will pop up as well. Slide in my DM and we'll get a conversation to get you going. And please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the show, baby. See ya. If it don't rain tomorrow, we balling, but it's looking bad. It's looking bad.
Yeah, if you don't live in the Orlando area, the lightning and rain that I experienced driving home from the gym tonight, we ain't balling all.
Yeah. If not, I'm gonna just stay in here in this office and practice on my putting, baby. Because I got the clubs, baby. I got the clubs.
Got the gloves. Then